Robby, tell me a little bit more about what you're working on, what your focus has been with AI mode, and what is your team focusing on right now? I'm super excited to learn more about the quirks that you've built into it. So what are some of the complexities that you're seeing when you're trying to build a system which is multimodal in nature, right from the input standpoint? Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of Ctrl Alt AI. And I'm super excited to have Robby Stein with me, who is the VP of Search at Google. And Robby, you just showed me a quick demo of the AI mode. I'm super excited to learn more about the quirks that you've built into it.
Yeah.
Robby, tell me a little bit more about what you're working on, what your focus has been with AI mode, and what is your team focusing on right now?
Yeah, so right now, my team and I are spending a lot of time thinking about how Google's products can really just allow you to ask anything right within the Google search experience. I think AI is a special and expansive moment where you can ask everything from getting specific pricing of products you're trying to buy, to advice, to health questions people have every day, to information about why a certain thing might be happening in a social dynamic. Like you can really have anything on your mind now. And what's interesting about Google is there's an opportunity to create this, the world's most knowledgeable AI. Because really Google occupies this special space where between the information available in real-time systems, like you have location information, 100 million places, you've got billions of products in the shopping graph we showed you in the shopping demo. You've got finance tools for Google Finance, sports, and obviously the knowledge of the web and what every website could be useful for a given question. That's such a powerful thing to offer people, and to be able to say, hey, I have this problem, and then for Google to think about it, have models that can reason, tap into any of these tools and give you a response is really magical. And so thinking about that from mobile, from desktop, from all of the experiences, because it really depends on where you are. We've talked about how you kind of want this really knowledgeable AI that you can ask questions when you're on desktop, when you're researching, but then when you're driving, you maybe use live and you just talk to it, and in the car, you keep going. And then really the vision is how you have this knowledgeable AI that you can just experience as you need it. But it's really rooted in the web and in these rich experiences that people rely on in Google.
Absolutely. And I feel like our fundamental way of searching is also changing, right? Like earlier, if I were to, in the era where only Google search was there, I would probably go look for maybe 5 to 6 keywords, search that on the search bar, go through multiple different websites, blogs, maybe watch some videos, and then try to formulate an answer for myself in my head. But now with AI, I think that it's taking away all of that effort to find the right information, to curate a summary, and then get to the point, which is hey, this is what you need, and this is a personalized advice that you get. And through the process, I think what has fundamentally changed is previously, I was only relying on text-based searches, and it would eventually end to other modalities of content that I'm viewing. But now the search itself has primarily changed from just text-based search to maybe I'm using my voice, maybe I'm using images, maybe I'm using the live video that you just showed, right? So what are some of the complexities that you're seeing when you're trying to build a system which is multimodal in nature, right from the input standpoint?
Yeah, well, the good news is Gemini models, which are the underpinning of our work, are naturally multimodal. And so there's already a bit of a foundational model innovation there where you can ask it you can upload a photo, put text in. It's called multi-search, where you have an image and text together in the question, and the model can understand that pretty well, just kind of out of the box. But I think if you're considering the fact that it can be multimodal and there might be follow-up questions, there are different ways to optimize models. So for live conversation, you probably want the model to do something a little bit different, wants to be pithy, shorter, punchier, more conversational. I don't think you want to output and read a whole page of text. And so each model has slight skews based on the use cases. And so it does create kind of this level of complexity where if you have kind of a conversational model and a model that's more aware of, let's say it's tuned for visual inspiration, or another model or part of a model that you've tuned for something else, you want to still create this cohesion for the user so they can ask anything in any condition, and it always works. And so I think more and more of this is being baked into the foundation. And so what we're seeing is that these models are increasingly capable of handling complex multi-turn and being more instruction tuned. And so that you could just say, hey, for this conversation, this is a question the user is asking from a live version of you, or something. be short and punchy and not super long-winded. I wouldn't write the prompt quite like that, but like models can increasingly handle that and almost create its own client interface, so it can be adaptive depending on how you're using it.
Fair. When we're also using AI search, I think one of the other differences that is changing is personalization, right? Like earlier, my Google search would be very generic. Even if I put something more specific that, hey, I'm looking for something under $200 or something, very rarely would it be able to find the right kind of matches or like point me to the right kind of blogs unless somebody has actually written out a blog that mattresses under $200, right? So now with the AI capabilities and the reasoning capabilities, we are able to extract way more out of the information that is available to us using Google search. But I think there is also a caveat to that, which is unknowingly people are probably exposing some amount of PII into these models. I'll probably give you one of my examples. A lot of times when I'm using Gemini app as well, I might be taking screenshots of stuff. I might be entering something which is a little bit more confidential, sensitive information. And I feel like Google has historically been very specific in guardrailing stuff in terms of whether it be like with federated learning and differential privacy. Like Google has always like tried to lead with ethical views of building the AI tech. What was your like top of the mind concerns that, hey, like now that people are going way beyond just text search, how do we handle personally identifiable information, make sure that it doesn't get leaked, or like encryption, whatever that is? Like, what are some of the guardrails which was top of your mind for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, people have put really sensitive info into Google for a long time. So it's not the first time that people are doing this. And despite the fact that, with AI, you can ask even more, I think Google is a pretty special place for people where it really is kind of the final line of information of finding things, and everything from health to personal issues, they come up quite frequently. And obviously Google has many other systems that are incredibly personal with respect to storage, documents, files, all that stuff. So I think beyond just best-in-class storage practices and privacy and security, I think that there's also a belief that these really should be tuned for you and that you should have total control over your own information. And so we try to create enough control option space that for the user who wants to, let's say, be in an incognito mode and enter information that's like easily not as tied to them, associated, not stored anywhere, where really like there's a way to do that. And then for other people who may not care, like maybe they're going to put in information and there might be some incidental personal information in there, but it largely is helpful to know, and that in future questions you ask Google, it has this really helpful context to save you time. But I think that's kind of a personal decision where someone wants to be on that spectrum. I think our position, my philosophy on it is that you have like best-in-class safety and protection and trust is paramount. But then there is kind of like more user-driven control that's critical, because people have different kind of sensitivities and proclivities for these things.
Google has been leading search engine for quite some time, whether it be with Google search or with Chrome or all the extension that really makes us find information. But now that we are moving from one-step search to more of like a conversational search, I feel we are also moving from search engine optimization, the traditional version of it, to something which is more of like agentic engine optimization. So when you see that shift, what are the first like top of your mind concerns or like things that you think about for building the solution?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think first of all, AI is largely I think an expansionary moment where people are asking more questions than ever, they're asking harder questions than ever, and they're asking really specific things. And now AI can really handle anything. And so that allows for a much greater diversity of potential websites and experiences to show up. But I think you have to kind of understand how the model works to really understand how it can all come together. And one of the things that's interesting is a lot under the hood of an AI model is actually Google. So what happens is, the model has reasoning, but what it's going to do is, for a given question, effectively create a bunch of Google searches. We call it query fan out, but most models do this at some level to get information that's fresh and accurate. And it effectively uses Google, creates a bunch of queries. And so if you're asking a specific question, say we're comparing mattresses, like there's probably one query about best foam mattresses or something, recommendations. And like whatever sites show up for that query
Yeah.
would actually be influencing what that AI model is probably going to talk about and the sites
Yeah.
that it links to, actually. So a lot of the core bread and butter work done for great high quality content to be discovered by Google, I think will naturally have this pass through in the AI world.
Yeah.
But it'll be overweighted on the use cases people are using AI for more. And I think you see, like particularly for advice and recommendations and complex needs, how to, people use AI a lot for that.
Yeah.
A little less for like short browsy kind of questions. Yeah. And so that's something else to keep in mind if people are thinking about how to integrate more with AI experiences down the road.
I personally loved the shopping use case that you showed me, and I feel like that's one of the biggest moat for Google, that you have so many different integrations. Shopping is not something that you're introducing brand new, but it is something that people have been historically using for a while, like whether it be maps, news, even like scholarly articles. There are so many integrations that Google search already had. Now it's just being powered by AI and like pulling that right information and presenting it in the right view to you. Do you feel that there'll be more content and more modalities added to the AI mode in the future? Because people are using Gmail, people are using Google Drive. There is so much data that people are storing onto Google. And in ideal world, I would love to see if AI mode is able to like cross-reference all of my content in different places and be even more personalized for me.
Yeah, we actually are working on that, and
Okay.
we pre-announced part of this as an I/O announcement, where you will be able to connect your Gmail and other sources in the future to get more personalized AI. And I think that's a very exciting opportunity, because if you have information around context, you can do a lot of really magical things. Like I'm going to New York recently, and I asked a question around where I could go for a restaurant I haven't been to. And I was thinking about it, and that kind of question is possible now, because if in Gmail it has all of my open table history, and the model can reason, look up information and cross-reference that and say, okay, well, here are all these cool new restaurants that opened since you've been there and you haven't been to any of these.
Yeah.
Wow, that is super cool. And even if it can look at what I've already booked to make some taste kind of assumptions, that's really cool. And you can really create an AI and an experience that knows you. And we think that'll be really uniquely useful to you.
That's wonderful. You actually stole my question. I was going to ask you what's one of your cool use cases, but I'm just definitely going to try that. And I used to be obsessed with this maps feature that sort of like gives you a journey of all the countries and cities that you could go for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to see if that's able to like pull in that information on AI mode.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
More to come on that soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, it was very exciting chatting with you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for giving me your time and letting me like do a deep dive with you. I'm very excited to see all of the new updates that you share with me, and definitely like try out all of these AI mode features.
Thank you. Appreciate it.